You ever have one of those days where a minute feels like an hour, but then a whole year just seems to disappear in a blink? We're all kind of ruled by the clock, right? But what is it actually measuring? Well, today we're going to dive into one of the most familiar yet totally mind-bending concepts out there, time itself. And this quote from St. Augustine, way back in the 4th century, just hits the nail on the head. He's basically saying, yeah, I get what time is, until you ask me to explain it. And that's the whole problem, isn't it? We feel it every single second of our lives, this constant push forward. But the moment you try to actually define it, to pin it down, it's like trying to grab smoke. It's a puzzle that's been bugging the smartest people for, well, centuries.
Okay, so if you look it up, this is what you'll find. The sort of textbook definition. It sounds simple enough, right? A continuous, one-way street from the past through now and into the future. Seems neat and tidy. It's a good place to start. But, and this is a big but, as we're about to see, this nice, simple idea, it kind of completely falls apart when you really start to look at it. So the first big question is, how in the world did we even start measuring something we can't see or touch? For literally thousands of years, we've been on this quest to, I guess you could say, trap time? We needed to for everything, for farming, for sailing the seas, for just building societies. And what a journey it's been. I mean, look at this. We started by looking up, right? Watching the moon's phases. Then we looked down at the shadows moving across the ground from sundials. We used water dripping, sand falling. Then things got really clever with all the gears and springs of mechanical clocks. But the biggest jump, the most incredible leap, took us from the scale of the cosmos all the way down to the tiniest thing imaginable, the atom. Which brings us to today. And this giant number, what is that? Well, believe it or not, that is the official definition of 1 single second. It's the number of times a cesium atom, wobbles or vibrates. Just think about that for a second. We went from watching a shadow move across a stone to counting the vibrations of a single atom over 9 billion times just for 1 second to pass. That is just an insane level of precision. Okay, so we can clearly measure time with mind-boggling accuracy, but does that actually mean it's a real, fundamental thing in the universe? Or is it just a really, really useful idea we humans made up? Yeah, we're about to get a little philosophical here. So this really boils down to two huge competing ideas. On one side, you've got Isaac Newton. For him, time was absolute. It was like this giant cosmic river flowing at the exact same rate for everyone and everything everywhere in the universe. It was just there. But then, on the other side, you had guys like Kant who were like, whoa, not so fast. They argued that time isn't a thing out there at all. It's more like an operating system in our brains. It's the framework we use to make sense of events. If nothing happens, there's no time to measure. It's all about our perception. And for a couple of hundred years, pretty much everyone went with Newton's idea of a universal clock. It was just accepted fact. That is, until a young patent clerk named Albert Einstein came along and basically took a sledgehammer to that clock. He absolutely shattered our whole understanding of what time is. So let's try to wrap our heads around this with a classic thought experiment. Picture a spaceship, and it's just blasting through space, going close to the speed of light. Now, for the astronauts inside, everything feels totally normal. A minute is still a minute. They're making coffee, doing their work, business as usual. But for us, watching them from Earth, we'd see their clocks ticking incredibly slowly. The bottom line is, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. And get this, it's not just a trick of the light. It is a real physical thing that happens. So here it is, the big, mind-blowing takeaway. There's no single master clock for the entire universe. Time isn't absolute. It's relative. The pace of your time depends entirely on your motion relative to someone else. That universal river that Newton talked about, it was just a mirage. It means my now and your now could actually be totally different.
Wait, there's more. Einstein wasn't done yet. He realized it's not just speed that messes with time. Gravity does it too. Really massive things like planets or black holes literally warp the fabric of space-time. They create a kind of gravity well that time has to climb out of, which makes it slow down. A clock at sea level will actually tick just a tiny bit slower than a clock on top of a mountain. And this isn't just some weird theory. Your phone's GPS has to account for this tiny difference every single second, or it would send you miles off course.
Okay, so we've gone from the cosmos to atomic clocks.
But what about the one clock we're all intimately familiar with, the one inside our own heads? Because it turns out that might just be the weirdest one of them all.
I mean, just think about your own life. Why does summer vacation feel like an eternity when you're a kid, but as an adult, a whole season just vanishes? Or how can a moment of pure terror, like a near miss in a car, feel like it's unfolding in slow motion? It's all because our internal sense of time is incredibly flexible. It gets stretched and squeezed by our age, our feelings, whether we're bored or focused, even by a cup of coffee. Your brain isn't just a passive timekeeper, it's actively creating your experience of time's passage.
So, after all that, we're kind of back where we started, but with way more questions. On one hand, we have these atomic clocks, precise beyond belief. And on the other, we have our own personal, subjective, totally warped experience of time. So it leaves us with this huge question. Which one is the real time? What is that clock on your wall truly measuring? Is it ticking off moments of some fundamental, universal river? Or is it just a tool, a ruler we invented to help our minds put some order to the chaos of existence?